Hello friends, my name is Cindy. Thank you so much for coming to this video. Wow, I just had an amazing day in my living room. And yesterday I went to my friend Sheree's house, and she's a friend of mine. She's also here on YouTube. I'm going to post her link below. Her name is Sheree Burlington. I did a video about her wearable art, and she's been doing more art. She's been on YouTube, and she has been telling me how to do these gel prints. So what you do is you get some paint, you put it on this gel type plate. This is a smaller one. I also have a larger one. And you make some prints with them. And yesterday I made some prints with Sheree. And here's a couple. At the beginning of this video, I'm going to show you some of the other prints that we did. I did these all by myself. And I also made a collage. So this is my very first collage that I made with my gel printed papers. I just used regular copy paper. You can use other kinds of paper. There are lots of techniques that you can do. And today in this video, I'm not showing you how I made the papers, but I'm just showing you how I did the collage. So you take this brayer thing, you roll the paint out on the gel, and then you put this paper down and you pick up a pattern, and you can do all kinds of things with it. You could make greeting cards. I have made journals last year for teacher gifts. I made some journals for the teachers, for the graduates as well from our school. So journals are really good, like covers. You can make collages. So have fun with this very first collage I ever made using my gel prints. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and please check out Sheree's channel as well. She's got some great content on there. Thank you so much. Hello, so I'm starting something new. This is the gel printing plate, and it's like this. Isn't this interesting? So I guess this is a craft. I've never seen this before, except that I met my friend Sheree Burlington in town here, and she showed me how to do it. I went to her house and we made some awesome prints. So I'm going to show you these prints. And what you do is you take your brayer, you roll the paint onto the gel plate, and then you do all kinds of different things. You print them, like you do one layer, then you'll do another layer. I have some stencils here, and make different types of papers with backgrounds. So we had a lot of fun. We spent a couple hours at least yesterday working on these, and I have some ideas. What I'm going to do with these, I am going to make a collage. This will be the first one I've ever done, and I will put Sheree's videos below this video, and you can see a professional that does this stuff. But I use a lot of her materials, and we chit-chatted the whole time, and we had a lot of fun. I made these designs, and what I'm going to do right now is I'm showing you my designs. So there's lots of different techniques. These are her masks, they call them. So this was a mask that I put on, and then after I took it off, I came up with this, which is the ghost of the mask, which is kind of interesting. And here's another one. So you'll see there's a lighter color on the bottom, then a darker color here, some white. I love these ferns. These were my stencils here, so I did bring some stencils of my own. These are just generic backgrounds, and these were when you roll the paint out, you end up with a little excess, so then you use a different sheet to put that on. That's what this is. And I thought I might use these as parts of my design. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on a collage. I am going to cover this this canvas. I believe this is like what, 10 by 15, something like that. So I'm going to cover this canvas with one color to start with. Then I'm going to make a collage. And I kind of have a little bit of an idea of what I want to do. This is going to be my first one. So when you see Sheree's videos, you see a professional. When you see my videos, you're going to see like the very first one because I have no idea what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do right now is I just decided instead of painting this on, I'm going to use my brayer to just roll it on. What do you think about that? And I do have some paintbrushes here. Now Sheree is the one who kind of gave me the idea to get started on this. And you may have seen on my channel, I do like art. I like to knit. I like to crochet. Actually, Sheree and I did some knitting together. We made the Carolina's, what is it called? Carolina's Outlander Shawl, which is on my channel. We made that. Sheree has made a few blankets. But in her professional life, she has done a lot of interesting things with art and paint. And I also like to paint. I put in a few pictures into the Deerfield Fair last year, and I'd like to do that again. Maybe do something like this. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody do something like this for the Deerfield Fair. I am not a professional. I am not afraid to put myself out there and to just make art, and you know, whatever happens, happens. Like, to me, the Deerfield Fair is just a fun way that people who are doing things on their own, they just come together and just show people what they did. You know, it's an agricultural fair, and it's for, you know, it's not, it can be professionals. I'm sure there's some professionals that do it, but it can be for anyone. So this is what I'm gonna do. This is kind of cool. I've painted these canvases before, and I've just used a brush. So here we go. So this is just going to be the background. And I've seen Sheree say, you know what? In order to make good art, you have to make ugly art. So maybe this is going to be my start of the ugly art. So I could get, you know, a, what do you call it? Like a meat tray or a paper plate or something to put this on. Maybe a little bit of water would help too. So I'm just going to paint this thing because I'm going to cover it with my collage. And I chose this brown. You know, I've covered my canvases with black before. I've covered them with white. And it's just good to start with something. You know, you have something down, and then you're going to be starting with that. I have an idea of what I want to do. I don't want to be just like Sheree. I want to have my own style. And I have an idea of what I want that style to be. I don't know what this is going to turn out like. But she told me that when she starts these types of things, she doesn't know what hers is going to turn out like either. Sometimes you really think that you're going to mess something up and it comes out really neat. So I'm hoping that's what happens. I have this black thing on the bottom. It's a piece of glass, and it's a really good thing to paint on top of because you can just wipe the paint off. And I'm also working on a fold-up small table that I use sometimes when I'm working on stuff. And I'm in my living room, just using my phone as a camera, because that's what Sheree does. She uses her phone as a camera, And today, this morning, I taught a couple of my Chinese classes, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing that. I teach different levels. I did some trials, which that would be people that are trying the company to see if they like it. And I get extra money if they sign up. So that's your incentive to do a good job. So I'm going to just kind of paint this. Of course, I'm going to have to wait a little bit for it to dry. Then I have some glue. I'm going to get some scissors and some glue, and I'm going to make some shapes, and I'm gonna make a design. Now my friend Sheree is an amazing artist, and I'm gonna post her YouTube channel below. She, you know, is a friend of mine in real life, and she calls herself an angel mom. And that's how I met her, because her only son was in a terrible motorcycle accident. And it's been, I think she said 14 years ago now. So it's very sad, and sad that it happened. And that's how we kind of met each other, was that common bond of losing a child. And she has interesting things to say about that on her channel. And I've had lunch with her. I've gone to her house. We've knitted. We've talked. And then she showed me how to do this gel print. Now, I've done YouTube for a long time, but she just started, and she's already making money on YouTube because she's such an amazing artist. So thank you for watching, and I will be back after this dries. Okay, here we go, and we are going to be making a collage. This is my very first one. And my friend Sheree has encouraged me to do this. She said that if you, in order to make art, you have to be willing to make ugly art, okay? So that's where we're at right now, making ugly art. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are going to cut some things up. I have some tissue paper here, which is kind of cool. And I think I'm going to use some of this to cut some shapes. And my friend Sheree loves shapes, and she likes to make a shape and, you know, make a shape that kind of goes across from it. So we'll make like this, then we'll do like this. And this is just tissue paper that was in a gift. And I don't know when I'm starting with this, but it just seemed like it would be a really good background on this brown. And it might just kind of get me started with some inspiration. My colors are kind of earth tones today, and I kind of love bold colors, but I think that earth tones also work. I think I'm going to put those aside. Those are inspiration, but I'm not going to put them right on the paper yet. So I have some glue. This is Liquitex acrylic medium. I'm going to put that into a bowl, and I'm going to use this glue. So what we're starting with right now is kind of a decoupage type of situation. I have a brush, like a foam brush and a regular brush, and a paint brush, and I also have this little thing to smooth things out. So getting started, I think what I'm going to do is just kind of use this and just cut some shapes. One idea that Sheree gave was to fold things and make your shape that way. So I love shapes because I am a math teacher. I love symmetry, so we'll do this. And then you just kind of cut out in the middle for your middle pieces. Cut this piece. See what happens. I have an idea. So what I want to do is I want to do a base type of background. And then I have an idea of what I'm going to do after that. See if it works. Oh, this is so much fun. Okay. Do we like this? Okay, so what she usually does is makes a shape and then a shape to go on the other side. So like this. For the inside. Now, I don't even know how much of this is actually going to show, but it's just, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm hoping this will turn into something great, so I'm going to keep recording. Okay, so there we go. We have some direction here. And I think with this, I need to make sure that I have an idea. I'm going to do this like a fan. And I am going to do like a leaf shape. See what I come up with. All right, I'm a little nervous to start gluing. It's just a collage, right? This is funny for me because years ago, my daughters, I had 3 girls first, and what they used to like to do for fun was I would give them a pair of scissors and they would just cut things. So that's what I feel like I'm doing right now. It was a great way for them to learn how to use scissors. They knew how to use scissors very well. And then when it came to the day when they were going to, you know, sew and do things with their hands, they were totally ready for it. It was really fun. My mother-in-law used to love to sew. So, we used to do that. Give them some scraps and just go to it. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever done this. I have no idea what I'm doing. I do have my friend to kind of like sort of be a little bit of a guide from. I saw things that she did and I'm kind of thinking about what she did to give me ideas. This could look like a disaster when I'm done. We'll see. One thing about it is that artists usually just love artists. They love anybody who just tries anything. Like, you know, they just like, that's so awesome, you know, how no matter how stupid it looks. So we'll see what happens with what we've got going here. So we're going to do this a little faster here, and so you can get an idea of the process, but it's not going to take as long as it took me all day. This project took me a few hours, and it was a lot of fun, and I honestly did not know what I was doing, but I did have a surprise ending to this collage, which I was really happy with once I got it done. So stay tuned until the end. So I was looking at my papers, and as I see now, the scraps that are left, I still have quite a few papers left, and I can use those for another collage. I can use those for journals or whatever the case may be. I did buy some journals on Amazon. They come in a box of 20, 40, or 60, whatever you want, and you can get a blank cover with lined paper on the inside, and this idea is great to make journals with. You can just cover the cover with your papers, and it's really a lot of fun. You can decorate them any way you want. You can make pockets, make bookmarks out of these. You could even laminate these if you want to make bookmarks or make fancy journals. So here I'm using a paper cutter to make some straight lines to put onto the collage. Now I have to say that, like I said, this is my first time, so I didn't really know what kind of shapes that I wanted to make. But I do know that I love the kind of petal shape style. So I made quite a few of these petal shapes in all different colors. I will also tell you that I got a lot of glue on my hands. I had to go wash my hands in between a few times because the petals kept sticking to my hands. I also learned during this process, instead of folding the painted paper to the inside and then cut a shape that is the same size, you know, like if you fold it, you can cut 2 of the same thing, or 3 or 4. And instead of folding it paint to paint, if you fold it with the paint on the outside, then it won't stick together. So if you're watching right now, that is a really great tip for cutting shapes. So I cut a lot of shapes. I did the petal shape. Then I realized I really like different shapes. So I ended up cutting some squares, some triangles, and I even did some straight lines, as you can see, and it was a lot of fun. I tried to make this a cohesive picture, and it wasn't, you know, I had the idea of splitting it into 4 and making 4 different designs in each corner, but it turned out the way I put the first shapes on that I just worked off of that, and it kind of made one cohesive picture. But after I got this much done, I thought I might have wanted to make a little bit of a busier background. So I think next time I will put more I will make more, see how the dots are that I'm showing you, put more of those things in the background, and then put more solid shapes on the top, because I found that I had a lot of blank space that was brown. So that was something I was thinking of while I'm doing this. I'm filling in blank space, but maybe if I had more on the background, I would be putting solid colors on top of busyness. So just another way to think of it. So I'm sure the more times that I do this, the more interesting we will get with this type of thing. Now my friend Sheree, she has a video inspired by Rex Ray, and Rex Ray uses a lot of busyness, a lot of geometric shapes, and I love that style. But I also wanted to make this a little bit my own style, so I was kind of using Sheree's ideas, kind of inspired off the Rex Ray ideas, and then a little bit of a bang at the end for my own style. We'll see how that holds up in future videos. But thank you for watching. This is really a lot of fun. I hope you're enjoying watching it, and I hope that you stay to the end to see the finished product. So in this part, I am just kind of trying to figure out how I want to end this piece and how it's going to come together. I'm still kind of filling in blank spots, and as you can see, I'm getting a little bit of glue stuck on my hands. Used a paintbrush, which seemed to work well. As you can see, I have some orange petals there, and this is the beginning of the big surprise at the end. I used my stencil to make a stem. Then I also, in between this video, I made some more papers with some orange and yellow, made some petals, and as you can see, I have something coming together for the big surprise on top of this collage. This is something that I really love. I love sunflowers, and I just thought it would be really cool to put this as the big surprise at the end. I had an idea to put a quote on it, but I hadn't really came to a real decision on what I might put on it. I was thinking, "Be still and know that I am God," because that's something that we need these days. We need to just be calm and know that God is in control. But when I looked at this picture, it actually looked really busy, so I wasn't sure that that would be the right saying to put on this collage, but I do love it. I think it really came out great. I love the sunflower. I love how the colors came out on it. And here you go with the finished product. Let me know what you think in the comments. Have a great day.